The U.S. national debt went to $31 trillion on Monday, according to the Treasury Department data published on Tuesday. And the reason for this was one, the pandemic. Two, we are fighting a proxy war with Russia through Ukraine. And I think those two things are the things that raised it to that amount. Plus, we're also paying more for our debt. The interest, from what I heard, the interest that is being put on that amount is about $1 trillion, I believe, per month. So that's insane. OPEC agrees to cut 2 million barrels per day. So that is basically going to cause energy prices to skyrocket, and it's going to push us further towards a recession. And unemployment, in the September unemployment, came in at 263,000 jobs, and the unemployment rate edged lower from 3.7 to 3.5. And this basically is cementing that the Fed in November is going to raise 75 basis points. And in other news, Australians petition to put Steve Irwin on new currency, replacing Queen Elizabeth. Now, in the States, we have all dead presidents on our bills. So it really doesn't make sense for them to actually replace Queen Elizabeth. If they, it's up to them. They could put King Charles III on their $5 bill. That's actually what she's on. She's on the $5 note. But what my idea was to put Steve Irwin on a $2 bill. Like here in the States, we have Jefferson on the $2 bill. Alright, so just make a new currency, put Steve Irwin on it. It's commemorative, and it's not really upsetting the whole fabric of their currency distribution, right? So hopefully both sides can agree on that. And with that, let's get to the intro. Hey ForexMilitia, Parsifal here, and we are going to go do a review of last week and do a once over for the week of the 10th to the 14th. And here we go. Basically, on Monday, we had the Aussie cash rate, which basically came in at, well, it was expected to come in at 2.85, but it came in at 2.6. So they only raised it by 0.15 basis points. And then we have the cash rate on Tuesday for New Zealand that was supposed to come in at 3.5. That did come in at 3.5. And I'm going to skip a little bit here and get down to the NFP and the unemployment for the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. And they both came in ahead of expectations, and the unemployment rate for both dropped by percentage points. So unemployment, the employment rate for this last September was very good. Okay, let's get on to this week's calendar. And this week we have the GDP coming out of the UK, and it's supposed to, the expected is 0, like it didn't grow any at all. We have the big one for the US, which is the CPI, and it's supposed to raise by 0.2. we'll see. And then core retail sales on Friday, which is supposed to basically fall a little bit. And the preliminary customer sentiment, which is supposed to come in at 59.1, I'm sorry. All right. Saturday, somebody's supposed to speak at the UK, so I don't know if I'll be around for that, but that should be interesting. Okay, so that's the calendar for a review and this coming week. So let's get over to the charts and see what we can see. And starting out on the dollar always, the dollar is still in an uptrend, and I believed that the dollar was going to fall more from where it's at. But right now, it's looking like the dollar is actually going to gain more. Now, when we look at some of the other charts, you're going to see why I was so set. My bias was set on the dollar being bearish, but we'll see what basically happens. Okay, so I am long on the dollar right now. Okay, on the US 30, the Dow Jones 30, it basically retested this trend line here, and it basically fell from there. It also hit this area here, which is what I would call a order block zone, and it fell from there. It just was a small retest. You see on the lower time frame, you can see it got up to this area here, and it pretty much came into an imbalance area, and then you can see the drop off, the decline. On gold, gold basically fell down to this is the 250 period moving average, day moving average, and I guess actually week moving average. And so it fell down, it got close to this point, but it rallied, and it rallied up into this point here, which is basically a support resistance zone. It's been the bottom of all these areas here. So I am actually looking for gold. Well, actually, I'm not sure what gold is going to do right now, but what I believe it would or should do is come off of this edge, because you see this wick, and it should start to fall again, which actually should make the dollar rally. Bitcoin is flat. Right now it is flat. It is moving across. It really has no direction, but on the COT report, it is slightly short. Oil had a fantastic week. And that's due to what I talked about in the preview. They cut the output by 2 million barrels per day. So that's a whole lot, and oil saw a rally. And it's the COT report has it long. On the loonie is still skyrocketing. It is basically climbing because of the strength of the dollar, and it was the weakness of pretty much oil, which is correlated to the loonie. And so right now, I guess what we're going to be looking to see is for this to actually probably move across. So I'm gonna be flat on. I want to look for consolidation on the loonie. On the euro has switched from a short position to a long. Now that probably happened last week. I didn't do a outlook last week, so it might have switched last week. I didn't check. Okay, so this right here is looking bullish. So if this is bullish, then the dollar most likely will be bearish. But we'll see what basically happens during the latter parts of this month. And on the pound is short. So says the COT. Now, in these last weeks, we had pretty much a 600-point move. We had this an 800-point, almost 900-point move, and then this last week was about a 430-point move, 440-point move. So these are this is extreme volatility, and if you can actually find a way to get in there, there is definitely some nice pips to be made on moves of that magnitude. You can see all this and this right here. If you have a setup, and most likely the setups are going to happen way down here on the 4-hour and the 1 hour. Okay, so that's my weekly outlook. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Support my work, please. And if you, I put out a video for the Trade Miner picks of the week on Wednesday. You should go check that out. And with that, I will say knowledge is power. Be power hungry and power to the people. This is Parsival, aka Preston, signing out.